On today's episode of Drove the Whole Way to Canada and Still Couldn't Find Any PC Light, we mess around with the Land Cruiser.
Well, would you look at that? Something is growing up out of the brush here. Actually, the brush is growing in around the old Land Cruiser. It has been parked here in the, climate-controlled storage unit for the past couple of years. Yeah, the old, the right front now has developed a leak. Used to be the left front, which had the old car wheel kind of supporting it to keep it from sinking into Mother Earth. And that seems to be, it's holding some wind. The ground is slowly,
pushing up from the frost.
Yeah, it's a lot lower than the last time we seen it. I mean, you can go tell Greta. I mean, this thing is great for the environment. Look at all that habitat. So we're trying to get some air in this tire. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's all leaking out from somewhere. Huh, I can't believe that, this tire's going to need some repair work. I mean, you think you'd get more than like 20 years out of one of these. So, now that tire is partially deceased, I mean, I don't know. Those cracks are probably just superficial, but we'll have to see if we can't plug them up somehow. But before we even look under the hood or, exterminate the rest of the vermin and hornets, we're just going to start working on this tire because, why would you see if it runs first? Because it's a Land Cruiser, that's why. See? That's why you only keep a few out of the lug nut set on there for easy removal. Now this is amazing. This thing has been sitting here for over 2 years and stuff just doesn't rust. I mean, I told you this is a premium storage facility. I don't know if it is going to be repairable. So the tire ended up taking some air. What it was is it was sort of separated from the bead a little bit when it was on the ground. And we have a little bit of minor leaks on the bead here, but we're using the proper tire tool to sort of get that bead reseated. Seems to be working. If you can't fix it with a hammer, it ain't worth fixing. Well, luckily there's no hornet nests under the hood, and I don't think there's any raccoons under here either, so maybe we'll check the air filter. Maybe not. Well, even though the mosquitoes are trying to carry us away,
Just keep fighting.
we're fighting back. And alright, well, it's been like 2 years. The clutch even seems to work. See if it just at least turns over. Oh yeah. Alright, well we'll hit the glow plug and see what happens. Contact. Alright, well now we're on the hunt for something non-conductive to jam in between the positive battery terminals and the battery so we don't short out those extra tall batteries. Snow flap might do the job. Well, looks like we're going to have to sacrifice this mint condition Ski-Doo flap to try and keep those battery terminals from, creating a short circuit through the hood. But, sacrifices must be made. That's definitely OEM quality right there. Man, I forgot how mint this thing is. So being that this thing has been sitting for a while, over 2 years idle, we're going to give it a little bit of TLC and some tuning and, maybe even top off the fluids. Now the radiator was about a gallon low, although we can't see any obvious leaks anywhere. But the oil wasn't high, so at least it's not going into the crankcase, hopefully. We could be losing a little bit of antifreeze from this auxiliary heater loop we got right here. It's a little bit damp, so oh man, so we just changed the oil like 7 or 8 years ago, so it's only at about 50% life. So we're just under here, checking out the New Year's rust harvest, and the frame is definitely, it's going back to earth like Mother Nature intended. But you really don't need all 4 sides of a frame. 2 minimum. Maybe just one side even will get you through. But we got plenty of steel left. But really, structural integrity, I mean, that's just a suggestion. Yeah, and the one gas tank mount's just totally kind of freewheeling it here. Right now, the only thing holding the gas tank in is that old shoestring and some high quality baling wire. So it's a redundant system, so it's safe for use. I'm also noticing an alarming amount of broken leaves. There's another one. I mean, once again, if you can't fix it with a hammer, is it even worth fixing? It's good as used. I mean, you really don't even have to do much work on this thing to get it back to, factory mint quality. I mean, the amount of weight saving on these rocker panels. I mean, this thing is almost in top racing form. We're going to do the right thing and reattach that wire coat hanger to kind of support that exhaust. Now here is a critical modification. We got a muffler delete going on here. Now, not to say that the muffler was really doing a whole lot of quieting down the exhaust, but there was no metal left anywhere up in here to actually hold that muffler, and the entire thing was kind of supported on the exhaust manifold itself. And that's the last thing we need to do, is break that manifold. So we did the proper thing and just ripped it off, which oddly enough, it was already 99% cracked the whole way around that weld. So we're working on maybe cleaning out some of the mouse debris and whatever other nesting material for, previous beasts that have been living in here. And I found a nice feature on the seat. It kind of offers a quick flip up here to access the mess. And oh, well, we've got a third option. I guess you only really need 1 bolt out of the 4 holding your seat down. Well, I don't know what happened, but we actually got into the cleaning mode, and we took out about 30 pounds of mouse and squirrel nests. And what we found is we no longer have a floor back here. Now that's not just a rust hole. I mean, that's an access port for easy servicing of the leaking fuel tank, so that's a win. Amazingly, there is still some floor left up in the front. But anyways, this is going to make this rig a whole lot more tolerable. You don't have that constant cloud of fiberglass dust and mouse dander, you know, just wafting into your face. Now we found some more lug nuts underneath the layers of rust and crud here, so I think we can upgrade to at least maybe 4.5 lug nuts per wheel. So it looks like the axle is leaking through the outer knuckles there, but that's basically just self-lubricating the bearings and stuff, so it's a win-win. Just gotta make sure that we're topped off with gear oil. Yeah, it's dry. I mean, that gear oil still looks good. I mean, you want stuff stuck to that magnet. Yeah, that gear oil, normally you'd say that's a milkshake, but I think that's a bit more of a caramel flavor rather than chocolate. Although honestly, I prefer mocha myself. So, in addition to the factory spec snowmobile flap insulators that are on top of the battery post, we got the billet pine hood spacers there for some extra clearance, because this project definitely gets safety first. So since the steering gearbox is sort of leaking, we're just straight up injecting grease into it. Now I consulted the manual, and this is legit. We're going to throw a little bit of gear oil in there to make a nice slurry. Well, you know, giving the injection pump a proper service and lubrication. So now the fuel tank is held in place with 2 sets of baling wire. It doesn't get much more solid of a repair than that. Well, look at that patch panel. You can't even tell that's not factory. And the old seatbelt is now doing a spectacular job of holding in the seat rather than the passengers. We now got the rear view mirror fixed, installed another piece of plastic trim. This is practically restored. We found 40 cents laying in the floor grunge. We'll put that up here in case we need to pay for some tolls. We've got the permanent mount zip ties on here, so we're not, half-assing this project. Now these batteries are slightly too big for the, factory battery hold downs, but that's alright because the cables are so tight that those should keep the batteries in place. Plug it. Coil in. Hit it once. Let it solenoid go. It's really not that loud unless you get on it. Yeah, that exhaust downpipe has to definitely be appreciating life a lot more without that muffler hanging on it. Now, in an attempt to try and not fumigate the passengers, we might have to extend that exhaust pipe. And that's looking like a perfect spot right there for some high performance side exit. Yeah, this is gonna get old. So in addition to like a dozen beer cans and I don't know, 100 empty shotgun shells, we actually found the other side step that is somehow in really nice shape. I don't think that bed has been that clean for at least a couple of decades. Not even any holes in that. And we had to scrounge up some extra exhaust pipe because it's going to get really old in a hurry listening to that exhaust drone. And it doesn't help that ever since we opened up all those fresh holes in the floor, the diesel fumes are just, you know, direct route right into there. And you should have at least 50% of your brain cells operating while driving something like this. Man, I'm telling you, if this thing didn't have a leaky tire, it wouldn't be the Land Cruiser. Well, just like that, we've got a NASCAR exhaust. We've got 3 different types of baling wire and coat hanger holding that up, so that's definitely not going to fall apart. Yeah. Side pipes are definitely the right pipe. Yeah, driving one-handed with the Land Cruiser is about as hard as I remember it. I don't know the last time anybody's been back this trail. Yeah, it's not much of a trail anymore. Yeah, I think we're gonna need a chainsaw. Hopefully we don't need a chainsaw.
Well, you got the axe just horrible if a tree fell down when they're coming back. This thing probably just hammer.
We definitely give it a shot over the tree. The brush has grown up so much I can't see if we're gonna hit a mud hole or not.
I'll tell you what, the mud holes are the really bad ones.
Okay, you let me know. So of course we're stuck out here and have nothing but the best of equipment, copious amounts of mosquitoes, and we're finding all the good mud. And now we put her into, you know, long-term storage. The sun sets on another diesel Land Cruiser adventure.